and thank you for tuning in today to Metro Moments. I'm Pastor J. Alfred Johnson III, and I want to welcome you to just a time of really conversation and interaction here this afternoon or whenever you're watching this broadcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. I am just really excited and really eager to talk about this topic that we're talking about this afternoon, managing mental health during a pandemic. And today I have on the line with me as we welcome you and thank each and every one of you for joining us wherever you are joining us from. I have on the line with me mental health professional in the person of Mr. Garry A. Graham, and we're so grateful to have him with us today. Garry, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. It's beautiful
no problem.
outside. Beautiful
Man,
outside.
It's great outside. I see
Yep.
the sunshine coming in through your window,
That's
and
right.
I know it's going to be a beautiful time that we have today. You know, Garry, I asked you to come and be a part of this Metro Moments time for a lot of reasons. Number one is because I know you, and I know you to be a true professional. I know you to be someone who is just a master at your craft.
Thank you.
Talk to us a little bit, Garry, about your path to getting where you are today. Now, you see Garry's letters right behind his name right there on screen, M.A., M.P.H., L.M.H.C. He's also a certified drug and alcohol counselor. And
you remember
just a
that?
little
It's
while,
true.
we're going to be calling him doctor as well. His educational credentials from Oakwood College, Greater New York Academy, NYU. Garry, I remember you being at Oakwood. I remember you being a history major. So talk about a little, talk a little bit about the journey of how you got from there to here.
Well, Al, thanks first of all for having me on.
Absolutely.
We've been friends for a while, and we've always talked. And this forum is to talk about some of our what's going on and how this whole thing has meshed. So I was a history major at Oakwood because I loved history. And I try to tell a lot of people, when you go for your bachelor's degree, unless you are specializing, you should do something that you like. And so I excelled in history. When I first started school, I wanted to be a doctor and a biology major, but that's not who Graham is. None of the Grahams are that. There's some Grahams that are something else, but that's not who I am. So usually you are an English major or a history major if you wanted to be a lawyer. But I excelled in history because I've always liked it ever since I was in elementary school. And then after that, I stumbled into NYU. I got a scholarship there, and I got a master's in rehab counseling. But where my life really turned around is while I was working as a mental health counselor, and I was deciding what to do. Around the corner from where I was, they opened the School of Public Health, and I dabbled in it. And as Seventh-day Adventist and who deal with the health message, it kind of came all together. So that it is. So I have my master's in history. I have my master's in mental health, rehab counseling, and I have my master's in public health. So that's where we are. So right now I am working on a doctorate degree, and you know how it's going with the pandemic. So that's where we are.
Well, Garry, I've known you. I know your brothers. I know your parents, and each of you are just people who are into helping people and connecting with people and reaching people. In your chosen field right now, you're just invaluable during this time, Garry. So first of all, thank you for all that you have done and all that you are doing just to help
people. Thank you. No, you're welcome. Right.
And I know it's a natural part of who you are. It's a natural part of what you do automatically. But at this time, Gary, and during this time, especially as we talk again about our topic, managing mental health during a pandemic, this is hitting close to home for all of us in various ways. Um,
Right.
Gary, I know
Mhm.
your family a little bit. Talk to us right now about how COVID has hit close to home with you. It's like we may have lost Gary for a second. There, we'll try and get him back. Um,
I
let's see.
I didn't hear the last part
Okay, good. I was
about
saying,
helping people.
just
So
talk to. I was saying,
I think I'm
talk to
just
us.
going to take it and say
Okay.
what I do. There's a lot of issues that people are having right now. The number one issue is grief. A lot of people are passing away because of the pandemic. And second, that is people are passing away not unexpectedly, but people who passes away, they are unable to give them a good send off.
Mm-hmm.
So that is hurting a lot of people. So now in my clientele, when people pass away, they'll be like, "Oh, daddy or mommy passed away from COVID-19," but they were sick and they rapidly pass away. It's like, oh snap, they were here today and they're gone tomorrow. And you hear about it because people dying, that's for other people. That's not for us.
Right.
And then you can't bury them the way you want them. 10 people can come. Uh, there's a long line for for burial, and it's tough for everybody. So, and then the third thing is when you or your family member gets sick, you think it's a death sentence, and that's all you can see. When you look on CNN or everything, they have the counter board of their 80,000 people that are, and I don't want to get in political, but one day there's a message that there's a drug that helps, and the next day science says it's not. When is the vaccine coming out? So there's a lot of anxiety that's going on, and everything that's going on in your life is, my favorite word is exacerbated.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you so much for that, Gary. Talk to us in just your own way about how COVID-19 is hitting close to home for you and how it has hit close to home for you.
Oh, that's easy. My wife and son is recovering from COVID.
Mm,
So my wife is a nurse, and they switched her whole floor to COVID-19 floor. But Al, she didn't get infected because she was finishing her license to become an RN. And so
mm,
she had to do rounds in the hospital. So she either could have done it at home or she could have done it. Let's just decide that you could do it in the hospital. So she did 2 shifts in the emergency room, petri dish. So
wow.
next thing she came home and she has a fever, and I just started crying.
Mm,
I was upset, because it hit home. And our cousin was sick of it also too. He lived downstairs of us, so we have a 2-family house. So we are our traditional New York City intergenerational family. I live with my
okay.
mother-in-law. My cousin lived downstairs, and my godson lived all the way in the basement. So we all in here. Um, it was not traditional like my brother's house or my mother's house. If you've been to my parents' house, they're more spread out. When you're in New York City, you kind of live vertical.
Yeah.
In the suburbs, you kind of live horizontal. With that being said, a lot of anxiety came into me, and she was down for 2 weeks, pretty intense, high fever, the whole thing. We isolated her, what have you. And I'm going to be a transparent. The thing that was bothering me is because my house was junky. I was like,
Mm,
yo, if something happens, man, somebody's going to have to come up here and look at how bad I keep my home. All of that was coming into me. So when I talk to my patients, they know what I'm talking about. I keep it real with them, and they talk about the same things. But here's the flip side that really got me, my
Okay.
wife, and then when she was getting over it, my son came from Oakwood, and he was like, "Yo, Dad, I want a job, whatever, whatever." And I said, "Okay." We helped him find a job at Amazon. He went there. They found out there was a COVID outbreak there. Next thing you know, he was sick, but he was
Wow.
sick for 3 days,
Wow.
and intense and intense. So he was at the um, nursing home. He works at the nursing home, so that's where everybody gets it. Makes sense. Nilsa, my wife, had it at the emergency room. So even though she was on the COVID floor, you work with the same people. You take care of yourself with PPEs, and you know to get out. We had a procedure. We didn't have her take the bus. I drove Tony to his destination. I drove Nilsa to his destination. So even though I have a craft, I don't work from an office anymore. I work from home with
Yeah.
teletherapy, just like I was doing.
Yeah.
So I was driving everybody. They put their clothes in the basement. We did everything. Here's the thing: they got infected at work. So I
Wow.
feel bad when people says essential workers and frontline workers there are at risk.
Yeah.
So I feel when they're opening all these things, they're not opening social clubs or golf courses or certain restaurants or whatever. There's all that stuff is hurting, and we prepared, Al. We
Yeah.
really prepared. And so Tony had his for 3 days, but his joint was intense. And I got sick for like one day. I don't know what happened to me, but I got over it. But I was loading up on immunity for a long time. Then mom got sick, but we took her to the hospital, but she was COVID negative.
Wow.
So
Okay. Thank God for
with
that.
all that said, with all that said, there are people that has it worse than me. And you know that, and I know that. So
Yeah.
there's three of us plus mom and dad. You got four plus mom and dad. There's blood on our doorposts. There's people
Yeah.
here gone, gone,
Yeah. Yeah.
gone. So that's it. So it has been a blessing because I'm able to talk to people straight up about what's going on.
No, thank you so much, Garry, for sharing that with us. You want to roll to your presentation right now, and
Yeah, you
let's.
could chime in because there's some things you will understand with this,
Okay.
and so people managing mental health during the COVID-19 epidemic. So let's go to our scripture, and the scripture basically says, you shall serve the Lord your God, and He will bless your bread and your water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of you. So this is something that I use while my wife and son were sick. Uh, Basically, we have served our God. We will bless our bread, and I will take sickness from the midst of you. The sickness came, but it didn't take us away. This is the verse that I used to bring me through. Exodus 15, verse 6 talks about if you listen carefully to the Lord, your God, and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commandments and keep all his decrees, I will not bring any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you.
Mm.
So COVID is here. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's for bad people, but I look at it this way: if you do what you're supposed to do, the Lord will protect you. You just can't ask the Lord to protect you from COVID, and you going out there on the beach, no mask, not washing your hands or what have you.
Oh man,
You got to
I
you
tell
got to
you.
do your part. You got to do your part,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
God has protected. So I'll chime in and I'll say this: I'm interested in trying to become because my other degree is in public health,
Hmm.
and so this whole thing is exciting me. I prayed about it because I was scared, but this is what I live for. And so in contact tracing, I'm learning how to do that. So with that, you see that was
It's like we're having just a couple of difficulties with the stream. We are live. Okay, I think I hear Garry there.
and uh,
All right, we're trying to reconnect. Right there, I think I hear Garry coming through. But nevertheless, again, we're going to go back to these scriptures that Garry was sharing with us, which are just great. If you listen carefully to the Lord your God and do what is right in his eyes, he says, and if you pay attention to his commands and keep all of his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. It is just a true thing that, again, the Egyptians, they had many diseases, not only because of what they ate. A lot of the diseases they had were because of their lifestyle as well. And it's not God's plan for any of those things to befall us as his people. All right, I think we have Garry back with us.
All right, sorry about that.
All right, you there, Garry?
Yeah, that's that
No,
5G.
no problem, man. We're live.
Yeah.
No, we're live. So, man,
Yeah.
we keep it going and we make it happen, man.
Yeah.
Go carry right on, man.
Yeah. So basically, if you do the right, so in Job, this is one of my favorite verses. You shall come to the grave at a full age, as a sheaf of grain ripens in its season, and it's a promise of God. You do the right things. Your point, we're all going to pass away, and public health really, the goal of public health is to minimize premature deaths. So, like the guy who played Jerry Seinfeld's George Costanza.
Yes, Jerry Stiller.
And the guy, he died at 92 years old. That's how we want to go out.
That's right.
We want to go out at an older age. I'm in my middle ages, and you're nicely behind me, tucked in there. To leave this earth.
Trust me, I'm getting closer each every day.
Right, but we do not want to leave at a premature age. In fact, I said it the best. He said, when in your 50s, he said, the only thing that you're too young to do is to die. And so I think that's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Man.
So we move on to the next slide.
Okay. Again, everybody, welcome and thank you for tuning in to Metro Moments, managing mental health during pandemic. I'm Alfred Johnson here with Garry Graham. And if you have any questions that you have for us, going to invite you to go to your chat feature. Those who are watching us live right now, if you have any questions at all, just go to your chat in Facebook, in YouTube, and we will do our best to answer them. All right. Let's go to our next slide.
Go over to mental health issues, because we did the introductions. We talked about how we knew each other. So we could go to stress syndrome. Post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Okay.
So, it's a condition of persistence and mental and emotional stress occurring as a result, injury, or severe psychological shock. So, typically involving disturbance of sleep, constant vivid recall. See that part, vivid recall of the experience with dulled responses to the outside world. Al, this is simply like my wife will tell me, you hear about the trucks in New York City, the refrigerated trucks, the morgues are full. You go, when I used to be an administrator, you knew me a long time when I was an administrator in the hospital. We probably get, the most we have just 2 people die in a day.
Right.
And that's only because the clock turned 12 the day before. And it says, Johnson died at 12:05 and Graham died at 6:07 in the evening. Now you're having 9 people die a day. 13 people die a day, not a week, a day. So when you have that as a nurse, you're not trained for that. You're not trained for that in battle or what have you. So even in so when you go home, you got to turn around and go back. You know, you heard about the nurse who the doctor that committed suicide. And that stuff is real. You're doing it. Like, where is all of this stuff coming from? Why is all these people dying? You know, and you as a pastor, you know, you walk into a room and you know it's the end, but you can't tell family members it's the end. There's no family members, bro. None.
Wow.
None. So anybody who you see that goes to the hospital, I have no problem saying names, like Dr. Smith from the Greater New York Conference, who was in the hospital for all those days, and he did his testimony yesterday. He's in there alone. You're on your own. So imagine you get sick. I was like, look, man, I'm not trying to send my family to the hospital. So so after this is all done, and it will be done, there's going to be a lot of PTSD. And you know, you figure that you know, there's 200 people dying in New York City in their homes. So
wow.
So
now, let's say that number again, Gary. How many people in their homes?
200 people dying in their homes at the height of it that's going on. So it, you know, Al, this whole thing is fascinating to me because from the mental health point of view and the public health point of view, you know, the infection rate is 1 in 9. So if I go out there and I'm infecting people at 9, they're trying to bring the infection rate down to 1 to a half. And so the safest place right now, and I said this a long time ago, the safest place to be right now is New York City. I don't care what anybody say, because they're not trying to open too early. You got Connecticut north of me, and you're south of me in New Jersey. They're not trying. They're not trying to hurt people, you know. And you know, it's a new reality. When the Spanish flu happened, prior to that, some of the social behaviors was that, you know, I'll go to your house and you give me a glass of orange juice, and then I'll drink it, and you drink from the same cup from me. We don't do that, right? No. So you get it. That's done. So, and then, you know, and you know, I remember in 9/11 came, and when my son was born, and I told him when he came of age, I said, "This is the first time in my life that I wish you wasn't born, because you're being born into a new world." You know, there was a time that we didn't have to take off our shoes to go on a plane. We could go into the gate. So that all that whole thing has changed. And so you know, we laughed at Michael Jackson. We laughed at the Asian countries for putting masks on their face. And now
you're telling the truth now.
And now we live in that. Now we live in that life. So with that being said, our lives, Americans want their freedom, and people are going to pay for it. There will be a vaccine. There will be a treatment, and there will be lives lost in the way. So,
Gary, let me just ask you this. I mean, because that's a lot, and I just want to deal with one of those aspects for a second.
I'm sorry,
if you don't mind.
I was going on. I was going.
No. It's all great information, and no, thank you for sharing that. I want to pinpoint at just one of those aspects. Is you talked about the isolation, you talked about the loneliness, you talked about the potential, almost the pre-PSD mode that we're in. And that, with that in mind, Gary, a question came in. What should you do if you find yourself during this time trying to get through with addictive behaviors, such as alcohol, pornography, other things? I mean,
I'm so glad you talked about that, and whoever wrote that, that's the reality of it. So your addictive behaviors is going to increase. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm going to stop with the top with pornography. Okay. So I have no problem speaking about it or whatever. So Pornhub and Your Heights, they started giving away free free subscriptions.
Wow.
Yeah. So because nobody is trying to meet up with anybody anymore. They're afraid.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So when you was having HIV, you could like segregate people before you got sick. Now you getting with somebody, you know, you go to the bar or whatever. So now, you know, Pornhub, which is business model is now exacerbated by COVID. They're offering free subscriptions. So you're initially going to struggle. And this is going to be, and I always talk to my people, and I tell them this. So I'm going to give you some bad information.
Mm.
You know, I understand with alcoholism. If you're drinking alcohol, you're going to drink more of that Hennessy. You're going to drink more of that because you want you want the reality to go away. Al, you really do. I mean, you know, my thing is, and what about people who eat? You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Food addiction. Food addiction.
I'm a big boy. You know what I'm saying? And the first initial weeks, you know, you could work out or whatever, but that food is there. You know, I don't drink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't partake in a pornography thing. So my thing is food. You know,
Yeah.
after you watch all the TV you watch, after you
Yeah.
pay all the bills, after you have cleaned up and everything, then what's next? There's no
Yeah.
ball games. There's
Yeah.
nothing. So there is an issue out with addiction. And whoever wrote that question, that is the reality of it. That's why I'm gonna spill over into this. Also, domestic violence. You know,
Yeah.
if you hated that person that you were dealing with, you're gonna be with that person a while. So there's gonna be a lot of conflict.
Wow.
So if you're dealing with that and it has increased, um, go see a pastor first and see a doctor, and they'll
Yeah.
find somebody like me to talk about it because there's no shame in it. There's absolutely no shame.
No, I thank you for saying that. This is something I've said to our church family, and I've used this before. Um, Mr. Rogers, you know, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Used to say to children that whenever there are times of trouble or crisis, look for the helpers,
Right.
because there will always be people there who are helping. And you're in the helping profession, Gary. I'm in the helping
Yeah.
profession. And I can't tell you how many people that I have just spent time on the phone with and just spending time with, just trying to help through
Mhm.
these times that we're going through. So again, uh, people with addictions to pornography, alcohol, food.
Yep.
Talk about, if you could, you hit on it for just a minute, and we'll wrap up in just a little while. People dynamics.
Right.
Um, Social distancing has also created a phenomenon of um, social engagement amongst families that really used to just come and go, used to be in and out. Talk to us a little bit about dealing with that dynamic while we're going
So
through COVID
that's
19.
I'm glad you brought that up. So let me end with this. And you said that we're helping. If somebody come to me and say, Gary, I have a if you think I'm gonna chuckle or
Mm-hmm.
laugh that you're going through an addiction, you actually did the opposite. And the fact that you come to me and say I'm having this issue, I'm happy about that because it's real. It's the people who are not coming that I
Yeah.
got an issue with. Because it's, you know, you're going to carry throughout post COVID and you're not going to be able to deal with that. So let me talk about family. So I'm gonna give you a great dynamic that's going on, and I'm gonna bring you into because you're my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I visit my mom and dad once a month. They live in Maryland. I live here in New York City. Okay, and my brothers are down there. And every time my brothers say that they saw my parents, I get this jealous, angry streak in me
Mm.
because I can't see them at all.
Mm.
Okay. The people who I see is limited, you know. Me and you were supposed to see each other a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
You know, and you know, we may see each other twice a year, but when we get together, we have a couple of laughs and what have you. And, you know, that's something that I was looking forward to. I'll share another thing with you. A good colleague of ours, he's a pastor. He just became the pastor of Mount Zion Church in Delaware, Jimmy Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
And he invited me down there. And then he said, you know how we are. Oh, Gary, we'd like for you to go there. And then, you know, I found out that Jimmy is a big baseball fan. And you know I'm a big baseball fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
So me and Jimmy was gonna go down to Philadelphia. You know, Nilsa gave me the go. You know, I talked to the wife and everything. I was about to hang out with Jimmy. So I was about to look out for Jimmy. Next on the 30th, I'm gonna be doing this with Jimmy.
Mm.
So it takes away a lot of the true intimacy. Now I don't feel bad because I've always seen my mom and dad, but at least Patrick and Paul, if worse comes to worse, they can see them. They have each other, you know, and it hurts. It really hurts. I never thought the day will come that I will miss my parents, and I would I would miss my brothers and miss my friends.
Yeah.
Here's the flip side of that. I got a chance to meet more. Now, this whole Zoom thing that families are meeting each other on Friday nights for worship.
Right.
You know, from across the country, we should have been doing that a long time ago.
Exactly.
You understand? So I know you can speak to that because your crew is spread out across the East Coast.
Yeah. And so
you know,
every Friday night we're on FaceTime together now. But like you're saying, what this crisis has taught us is that there are a lot of things that we can do and that we should have been doing, like you said, all along.
You know, it's another great thing that this crisis has brought on to, and it's a blessing. Look how many options you have to go to church on Sabbath.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, you know, the Friday afternoon, you know, I met some people in Florida. You know, I know your sister, Janine, has this great series that's going on or what have you. It's all been dormant in us. And it's like a way God has a way of waking us up. It's like, look, my people, you know, and now I can't wait to go to church because you know that joint's going to be full.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not segregated between Sabbath and Sunday, all that kind of stuff like that. People want to praise the Lord now and coming out. So, you know, you can't stop me.
No.
You can't stop me now.
No.
You can't.
No.
So,
hey, Garry, I know you have some
we're
things
designed to touch
that you are encouraging us to avoid. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, let me go move all the way down to where it says avoid. If you go all the way down to that, it's kind of small. I want to apologize. Look, let's try to stay away from too much news. All right. Too many news. I try to, and I think the best thing to do is I listen to two types of news. I listen to the governor here in New York because I love him. He's giving me the reality, the truth, and then for everybody, you probably have this down there. You should go to your News 12, your hyper local news, because they'll let you know what's going on in the community. So you should not digest because they're going to run it all over and over again. Coincidentally, Fox News does not have the panel of the countdown of people who are dying or whatever, but CNN and MSNBC does, and it gets tiring. You know, you could watch television, but even in between the television, the commercials are talking about COVID all the time. So you could go watch the reruns of the Golden Girls, Magnum PI, what have you, that's fine. But then, you're still going to be kicked back into reality of what's going on, and they'll give you updates.
Yeah.
Social media has become an obituary laden area, and that's hard. So you need to limit your social media. You get a lot of good news from social media too, but the bad outweighs the good. You say, oh, my brother is sick, please pray for him, and people's giving an update on him over and over and over again, and it gets to be a lot. And they're updating and tracking. But here's one for you, Al, that I think you should share with your congregation is like, stay away from negative-filled people.
Come on now, you're preaching now.
Now, I know this. Well, I know this. And so if I call you, you're not going to say, oh, man, Gary's going to call me that so-and-so died or so-and-so is sick.
Right.
There's some people, when they call them with bad news.
Yes.
That needs to stop. That needs to stop. It needs to, so you need to stay away. Who calling with bad news, and that needs to stop. And there are also people who, I'm going to admit this, but they love to do the conspiracy theory. Like this is matched with the Sunday Blue Law, and this is connected to 5G, and this is connected with a tracking system. My dude, we can't even get people to social distance.
You're telling the truth, Gary.
We can't even get people to put that mask on. Look, we know Sunday Blue Law is going to come, and we know there's going to be a more troublesome time. But can we put our mask on first, and could we social distance first? All right. And then it's not avoidance, but what we have to do to keep our mental health is we got to keep ourselves regular. You still got to pay your bills. You still got to go shopping. Nilsa got me cleaning the house, taking out the garbage.
Yeah.
So, and we tried last night. We stayed up together and we talked and we laughed and what have you. Tonight we plan to watch Barack Obama and Michelle Obama do their speeches.
Yes.
It's still regular. It's still regular. So I'll even say this, Al, for our relationship, that you don't have to do too much. You're still my boy.
Right.
I still love your family or what have you. If I need something, you and I had we talked about Nilsa being sick, and you was like, Gary, I didn't know. I said, Al, if I called you, then it would have been trouble. And you were like, G, that's right. So some things we still need to. Some relationships are going to blossom, but we don't need relationships to regress. So those are the things to avoid. But that's where I will go with that.
Man, Gary, man, you've given us so much great stuff. I wanted you to do two things right as we end. Number one, tell us how we can stay in contact with you. For those who are watching this, through all of your means and media and mediums, let us know how we can stay in contact with you. Number one. Number two, just give us a final word of encouragement and have a word of prayer with us right before we go.
Okay, I'm going to say this, and it may seem like a shameless plug. God has blessed me because I'm good at what I do. And a lot of people don't know that because I'm not in the front or whatever. If you're having issues, talk to your pastor and call me or hit me up. And I'm on social media, and I'll try to put the card up or what have you. So you can Google me. I'm on Psychology Today. I'm on LinkedIn, and you will find me. I'm Garry Graham, and then I'm on top of the psychology list, and we could talk about anything. Here's the thing, Al. A lot of people think because they live in Minnesota or they live in Arizona, I carry that insurance. I can talk to you, teletherapy, because they have relaxed all the rules. So if you have insurance and you live across the country, we'll work it out.
Good.
Here's my closing words. God is still in control. And you may not believe that. We bought a dog, and he don't care if it's COVID. When I go to the beach and I see the birds fly, they don't care about COVID. I see the trees swing. I see the sun today. They don't care about COVID. You're going to go to sleep and you're going to wake up tomorrow.
Yes.
And I honestly believe that God is tired of the foolishness that was going on in this earth. And he was just like, yo, stop this. Everybody stop this. And he's given us a chance to get it right and get it together. I implore all my people, get right with God and get right with your family. Okay?
Yeah.
If you have aught with your brother or your sister, this is the time. Listen, I'll tell you, as a mental health person, nobody's telling you to lie prostrate in front of Al and his family and say, my dude, I'm sorry, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, pick up the phone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hit him up with a text. What's up? Or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I know where you are on Twitter. Everybody know where you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a little love. It goes a long way. But when you
Hey,
wake up,
Garry, one
sorry.
quick question before you close that came in. What is your recommendation for those who know they are exposed but asymptomatic, so that so they continue interacting with others as if nothing's going on?
Get a test if you can.
Okay.
New Jersey and New York City are now you could get free tests. You know, and don't be afraid, because you know, I was asymptomatic. You understand?
Wow.
But yeah, and I lived in the same house. My mother, the same house, and my mother-in-law didn't have it, and I didn't transfer it or whatever. So if you go ahead, the churches have it. Look up on the website, and they have it. Keep safe. Yeah.
Thank you,
So
man.
yeah, let me pray us out, and thank you for the opportunity. And I hope we can do this again, and I hope I can see you live soon, man.
Man, we'll do it. We most definitely will make it happen, Garry.
Yeah, let's bow our heads. Father God, we thank you so much. We thank you for the Metropolitan Seventh-day Adventist Church. We thank you for my friend, Pastor Chaplain Al. We ask you to bless his family and to bless my family too, and all of those who are listening now and who are listening in the future. We can talk for days, but there are different forums and different times. Anybody who's going to listen to this, we ask you to give them encouragement. We love you, and we claim you as our King. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us for Metro Moments, managing mental health during a pandemic. I want to thank our guests for this Metro Moments broadcast, Garry A. Graham. Again, look him up through all of the things that he asked for you to look him up. He has a great profile on Psychology Today, Google, LinkedIn. He will get back with you. And most of all, no matter what, get the help that you need during this time. As always, we want to thank you for joining us here. And if you ever have any questions or anything, you can always feel free to get more information at our website, mymetrosda.org. Well, thank you so much for being here. Have a great rest of your day.